Hi, this is Caleb Lee Kai and my Rainbow Phoenix, Avalarion. I'm going to skip ahead in the lore only because Guild Wars 2 takes place on the continent of Tyria, which includes the lands introduced in Eye of the North. But chronologically, these events happened after Factions and Nightfall. With no further ado, here's the story and lore of Guild Wars Eye of the North. Our story begins when earthquakes begin to shake the foundations of Lion's Arch. We leave the city and find a great fissure has opened leading to underground tunnels. We traverse down the tunnels to discover a dwarf named Ogden Stonehealer and Vec from an unknown race at that time. We see they are setting up supply of explosive directly under Lion's Arch. Vec destroys a device never seen before called an Asuran Gate because their central transfer chamber has been overrun by destroyers. We soon discover what these destroyers are after several waves tear through the walls and chase us out. We head to another Asuran Gate and end up in the far Shipper Peaks. Vec demolishes that gate as well, so the destroyers can't follow. Here we see a giant woman of a race Ogden calls the Norn. Her name is Jorah, and when she approaches, she tells us we do not have to fear her. She is hunting bigger prey. We offer her assistance, but she refuses, but points us in the direction of a human outpost nearby. When we get there, we see a massive structure of unknown design. When we get to the entrance, we encounter the Ebon Vanguard, Ascalonians who have set up this outpost as their base to attack the Char. Their second in command is someone familiar, a girl named Gwen. She was with us picking red iris flowers the day of the searing. When we are no longer considered a threat by her, she welcomes us into the Eye of the North. Gwen leads us to the scrying pool the Ebon Vanguard have been protecting. There we see a vision of the destroyers emerging from the depths. Gwen, Ogden, and Vec ask us to assist them with different quests they are on. Gwen hasn't heard from Captain Langmar, the leader of the Ebon Vanguard, and wants to search for her in the Char homelands. Ogden wants assistance with rallying the Norn to the threat of the destroyers, and Vec wants us to travel with him to find his people for their knowledge to battle the destroyers as well. I chose to help Ogden first and seek Jorah, the young Norn we met. When we meet up with her, she had changed her mind when she communed with the bear spirit and wishes us to aid her in her hunt. Her hunt is to track down the Norn bear. She tells us the story of her and her brother Svanir hunting on the forbidden frozen Drakkar Lake that held an ancient magic that even the Norn shunned. A voice spoke to them promising power and prey. Svanir channeled the magic and embraced it while Jorah tried to repel it, however by doing so cursed her and cut her connection to the wild. She could no longer become the bear. We hunt down the Norn bear by using Wolf's blessing and defeat him. Jorah insists that she be the one to kill him. Ogden asks for her help to speak to the rest of the Norn to rally them to his cause. She agrees, but says the other Norn will not listen to her because she has the blood of her brother on her hands. She needs to be cleansed first. She directs Ogden to Olaf, the Norn hero, but we stay with Jorah to aid her in her trials. We seek the help of Eigil Fireteller to call upon Bear to see how Jorah can wash the blood off her hands. Bear tells her blood washes blood. The only way to cleanse her sins is to cleanse her homestead, which lies in lands overrun by Char. In order to continue, she must kill the Char. Being from Ascalon, Gwen is enthused to help. After raiding the Char in Jorah's homestead, Ogden asks again if Jorah can rally the Norn to fight the destroyers. Jorah says she will talk to the Norn, but it is up to them to decide to take up their cause. Jorah, however, will stay with us on our quest. We meet with Olaf outside the Raven Shrine, which has been overrun with destroyers. We enter the shrine and clear it and destroy the Asuran Gate connected to the central transfer chamber. We get Olaf to tell others in the challenging hunt destroyers are, and agrees to send a message informing King Jalas Ironhammer the Norn will offer their assistance. We go to the Battle Depths, the new dwarven stronghold, to meet with King Ironhammer, and he is impressed with our strengths, but tells us to continue seeking aid. We go back to the scrying pool to get a specific vision of where the destroyers are coming from. The pool shows us what we seek, but we are unsure where it is located. With the Norn beginning to hunt the destroyers, I chose to help Gwen next in finding Captain Langmar. We go to the Char homelands and find smoldering ashes from a recent battle with the Ebon Vanguard and Char. However, there aren't enough bodies to suggest that they were all killed, so we head to the nearby Char encampment, but find no signs of them. There we find a Char named Pyre Fearshot imprisoned there because his warband opposed the shaman caste that made the Char worship the Titans, and now they are forcing others to worship the destroyers. We strike a deal opposed heavily by Gwen to help him free his warband, and in exchange he will lead us to where the Vanguard are being held. After rescuing the fierce warband from the Cathedral of Flames, Pyre leads the assault on the Hierophant stronghold, the leader of the Flame Legion. We break their front gates, kill their false gods, the Destroyers, and free the Ebon Vanguard. Pyre tells the Char not to follow him as obedience, but to think for themselves and spread the word that the Char need no gods. Once regrouped, he tells us he will continue to aid us on our quests. Now that Captain Langmar is freed and the Ebon Vanguard safe, we head back to the Eye of the North to get another vision from the pool. This time we see their leader. Ogden tells us it is called the Great Destroyer. It and the Great Dwarf will have one final battle before the time of the Dwarves comes to an end. This was predicted in the Tome of Rubicon, the ancient book that was written by the Great Dwarf and tells of the battle between the Great Dwarf and Great Destroyer before the time of the human gods. It also says this battle will repeat again once the true name of the Great Destroyer is spoken. This was attempted by the Stone Summit exiles in the Sorrow's Furnace mines, where the tome was first discovered. We prevented them from succeeding in reading the name, however, the Destroyers are now rising without the name being read. Finally, we head to the Maguma jungle to find Vex's people. We find them arguing amongst each other on how to repel the Destroyers. The Asurans were forced up from their underground cities and now want to prevent them from overtaking the surface. They devise a plan to build powerful golems to hold the line. They would, however, need the help of two Asurans, Ula the Golemancer and Gad the best mind in arcane power. We enlist the help of Ula's assistant to find her, and a necromancer of the Shining Blade named Livia tells us she has been working with Gad and knows where to find him. We head deeper into the jungle and first find Ula's lab. She has a booby trap, but after traversing her obstacles we reach Ula and persuade her to help. Next, we go to find Gad, who is researching the powers of one of the Bloodstones. We use the power of the Bloodstone to charge the arcane crystals and head outside of Radasum, the main Asuran city. We kill and push back the Destroyers emerging from beneath the surface, but at a terrible price. Gad was killed trying to boost the power to the last golem, and we find out that he was Vex's father. After a tribute to return Gad's ashes to the Eternal Alchemy, we return to the Eye of the North to receive the final vision from the Scrying Pool. It shows us the location again of where the Great Destroyer is, and this time, Vex can identify the location of their cave. He recognized a giant statue from a cavern adjacent to the central transfer chamber. The Asurans needed a lot of magic to power their gates, and the statue practically bled magic, hence the reason the transfer chamber was built there. With the location discovered and the combined forces of the Norn, Dwarves, and Ebon Vanguard preparing for the final battle, we travel with Ogden to the heart of the Shiver Peaks to attain the artifact to summon the Great Dwarf. Once we obtain it and return to King Ironhammer, he performs the ritual and most of the dwarves are turned into stone dwarves, changing them in body and mind. With all the allies prepared, we head to the central transfer chamber and clear it of the destroyer infestation. Although the dwarves have their new powers, they take considerable losses, so we have them stay in the central transfer chamber to hold it while we battle the Great Destroyer. Once we finally bested the Great Destroyer, the stone dwarves were able to effectively make an offensive against the destroyers. Then the statue reveals its true identity. It is actually the Elder Dragon Primordius. With the defeat of his champion, Primordius' awakening is held off longer, allowing Zaitan to be the first dragon to fully awaken. The voice under the lake heard by Jorah and Svanir was that of Jormag, the Elder Dragon through his champion Drakkar. In the next 150 years after Svanir's death, more Norn became corrupted by the same promise and called themselves the Sons of Svanir, worshipping the dragon spirit. Even though Ogden was able to hold off the effects of the Great Dwarf, all dwarves turn into stone dwarfs to battle the rest of the destroyers. Thank you for watching, and next I will show you the storyline and lore of Guild Wars Factions.